day closer to watching Tommy DeVito play football. That's how I count my days now. And we got a lot of football to get to. More on the emergence of Tommy DeVito. Is Robert Saleh getting better at handling the media, or is he just clueless? We'll discuss all that coming up, but there are days in which I feel like an oracle. There are days in which I can see the future. And I see the future, and I want to present it to you right now. This is not a story today. It will be a story in the next few weeks, and I think it's obvious, and I am here to open up your eyes. New York Knicks fans, I'm here for you. You've been chasing a star forever. That's what we always hear. They need a star. What star? This star, that star. I know the next NBA star that's about to become available.
And that would be?
The next NBA star that will become available, and you guys are going to freak out because you're all going to want him. And I'm going to tell you, calm down, take a deep breath. It's a massive mistake. But ladies and gentlemen, the next available superstar you are going to drool over, and it's obvious, it's right in front of you, is the greatest shooter in the history of the sport, Stephen Curry.
What?
He's going to become available, Tiki.
What makes you think Steph Curry, who spent his entire career, what is he, 30-some, mid-30s?
35 years old, 36 in March.
His entire career has been spent out in Golden State with the Warriors.
Yes.
The Golden State with the Warriors out in San Francisco, winning championship after championship. There's been a little bit of a lull, but why would he ever want to leave Golden State?
Before I answer that question, are you excited? Do you want him? Are you thinking about it?
I mean, if you're going to present a scenario where Steph Curry is available to the Knicks, maybe not the Nets, but to the Knicks.
I didn't even include my team. So I want to get this straight. And I'll lay out the whys on it because, trust me, once I'm done, you'll understand. You'll say, Evan, you're right. You're an oracle. This is the big story in February everybody's talking about. You are willing to take all the assets you have collected.
I don't even know the assets.
First-round picks from the Pistons. First-round picks from yourself.
What are they?
First-round picks from the Bucks. You're willing to take all those assets that the Knicks and Leon Rose has done a great job of collecting, and you are ready to cash in on Steph Curry being the guy. We've heard about Donovan Mitchell. Didn't happen. We've heard about Karl Anthony Towns. Hasn't happened yet. We dreamt about Joel Embiid. It's never happening. You dreamt about Giannis. You're still dreaming about Luka. We know the names. This is the name you haven't talked about, even though it's going to be on the table. And I just want to make this clear from you before I explain why he's available. You're all in on Steph.
Okay, so first of all,
go ahead.
It matters how much they're going to ask. He is 35 years old, as you just told me. I don't think I realized that because it doesn't seem like he's 35
He
years
is still
old.
Playing at an incredibly high level for those not paying attention.
Averaging almost 30 points a game. I mean, he's phenomenal, but he doesn't feel like he's 30 years old at this point. So what has he got? 4 more years of really good elite-type play? Why would you not want Steph Curry if he was available? Of course you want Steph Curry.
You're all
if
in.
He's available.
You want him.
I would be all in. Now, I'm not giving up every one of those assets.
No. Here's what you're giving up. I'll get this out of the way. R.J. Barrett and like 4 number 1s and 3 pick swaps. Your typical superstar trade.
They have 30 first-round picks anyways.
Okay.
I can't even figure out which ones are real.
No, I get it. Well, the Piston one is protected. I get that. But you are willing to give up the assets you've collected waiting for a star.
Because it gives you a chance to win a championship.
Yeah.
Absolutely gives you a chance to win a championship.
I will now tell you why he will become available, and I think it's pretty obvious if you're paying attention. Draymond Green was suspended yesterday. I don't know what's going on with Draymond Green personally. There's a part of me that has compassion for him. The other part of me says he can't play basketball anymore because he is a loose cannon. And so the Draymond Green situation, if you haven't heard, now features a suspension, and he's going to have to prove to the league he's okay to come back. Right. Bottom line is, he's right now in a weird, murky situation.
Yeah, that was an indefinite suspension.
Yes.
Not you did this, therefore you get 2, 3, whatever games.
Yes.
It is indefinite. Indefinite.
Number 2, Klay Thompson looks washed. Klay Thompson is 33 years old. He's a few years removed from that major injury, and he doesn't have answers. And Steve Kerr doesn't have answers. Klay Thompson is washed. The brother of Steph in the Splash Brothers grouping is no longer splashing. He's splashing his way out of the league. Chris Paul is also a corpse of his former self. And let's not forget Bob Myers, the man who put it all together. He left a few months ago. He's gone. Yeah. The Warriors dynasty is dead. D-E-D, dead. It is becoming painfully obvious for all of us around the league. And here's what's uncomfortable for the Warrior fan out there, but who cares about you? The dynasty's over, and what are you going to do about it? And what you're going to do about it is what's best for you. And what Steph Curry's going to do about it, and he's going to do it in the classiest way possible because he and Aisha are very classy individuals. They're not going to pull a Kevin Durant. By the way, KD, how's it going? Good night last night. He's not going to do them dirty. He's going to go to them, and it's going to happen soon.
Why do you think this is going to happen soon?
Because this is the NBA.
I know, but why would Steph Curry, who spent, what is it now, 13 years, right, with the Golden State Warriors, all of a sudden, in the twilight of his career, even though he's still playing well, not saying he's diminished, why would he say, you know what, I want out of here, I'm going to go chase another championship.
2 reasons, Steve.
So I have 5.
2 reasons. Well, 5 is better than 4. That's number 1. Number 2, as a side note, no one wants to be in San Francisco anymore. That's the news around the world, so Steph will join in.
That's kind of true.
But in all seriousness, Steph Curry is a great player still playing at a high level, okay? He knows in the right situation he can win. He can win another one. And I think as a competitor, that's not Steph Curry quitting. Well, let me tell you who's a quitter, okay? There's a difference between quitting and saying, hey, it's time to move on. The tall man with no heart is a quitter. Okay, he quit. Steph Curry's not a quitter. Steph Curry would just say, hey, I'm a great player, and I can still win, and it's not happening here anymore.
Wait,
and that's obvious.
You're talking about Kevin Durant.
I don't talk about that man.
So you're talking about Kevin Durant.
I'm talking about nobody.
Who quit the Nets because of the exact reason that Steph Curry, as you are portending, would quit the Golden State Warriors.
It's not quitting.
It was falling apart.
Okay, Tiki, it's not quitting the Warriors. They're done. They're done. Look, it's obvious. They're done. And the only reason I'm bringing this up today.
That I agree with.
Okay, so you agree they're done.
Right. But they still have some pieces, right? Wiggins is there.
Stop it. Stop it. They're not winning a championship.
Looney,
you know it.
Kevin Looney's there. They got some not great players.
Are you serious now?
All it takes is one more draft pick.
Stop it. They're done.
One more star deciding to go play with Steph Curry in Golden State.
Steph Curry doesn't have the time. He's 35 years old. He's going to be 36 in March. And I think he would do this the right way. And remember this about NBA superstars. The superstar becoming available is not always predictable. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere. What I'm doing for you, the Knick fan out there, is I'm using my basketball intellect of sitting around watching the Nets and the Knicks last night and reacting to Draymond's suspension, because that's really what spurred this on, that it's over. And Steph is going to privately, I'm telling you, this is the biggest story in the world in February. You know it. I'm just letting you know now in the middle of December. He's the next guy. We've always asked this. Who's the next superstar that's going to ask out? Who's the next superstar the Knicks can go for? I'm telling you who the guy is. The guy is Steph Curry. And the question you all have to answer, because it's tough, man. It's a tough answer. Are you willing to cash out with all your assets on a guy who's an all-time great player, who's one of the greatest shooters this sport has ever seen, a guy that would light up Madison Square Garden, and it pains me to say this, would make you a legitimate championship contender?
100%.
Are you willing to cash out on that guy, even though the window is tiny?
Yes, absolutely I would. One, because Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that you've ever seen, and he's going to lift everybody around you. As long as those guys have like a skill set and they understand the principles that he would bring and the spacing that he needs and the sharing of the ball that he's used to, Steph Curry makes people better. And so if he's here, he absolutely gives whatever team he's going to, we're assuming it's the Knicks, but whatever team he would go to, he makes them significantly better.
He does, Tiki, but the window you have is tiny. You got to remember this. This is the problem here. When the Knicks fan has thought about a superstar for years and years and years, you've always thought about an in-his-prime guy who I can wear the jersey of for the next decade. Steph's not that. Now, what Steph can do is be Mark Messier.
Yeah, but when it's been so long since you've won a championship, don't you just, and especially when you have assets to burn, like the Knicks do, the Boston Celtics do as well, by the way, when you have assets to burn, don't you go all out? Don't you just try to change the perception and the culture?
Tiki,
that's why I would say it's a no-brainer.
I normally would, but I've learned my lesson the hard way. You're getting a 35, 36-year-old player.
Yes, but it's different. It's different than what the Nets did, Evan, and you know it's different than what the Nets did.
I wasn't using the Nets as an
yes, you
example.
were, because that's the one that comes perfect straight to mind. Let's go get as many superstar players as we can, put them together, and let's just hope. Forget that we don't have a coach that can manage the personalities, but whatever. Let's just try it. Let's just put it together. That's exactly what the Nets did, and it didn't work.
The Nets still in the league?
Because they were trying to copy what the Miami Heat did with LeBron. Like, let's get the best stars and stick them together. I think the Knicks, and more importantly, Steph Curry, if he did come to the Knicks, would do it smartly, right? It's not just we're going to cobble together as many interesting, exciting people as we can and just roll the ball out onto the court, right? It would be a concerted effort to be better. And I think that's what Steph would bring, simply because that's who Steph is, right? And so, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Absolutely, I would do this.
Tommy Lugauer is a diehard Knick fan who has fallen in love of a team filled with dogs. Dudes. And even though they got duded last night by the Utah Jazz.
Well, we don't have to bring that up.
Would you want this dude on your team?
Of course, and I'm all about rewriting history because I was there. I remember when Steph Curry got drafted by the Warriors and the immortal Jordan Hill was drafted by the Knicks, and he ended up being a total stiff, and now Steph Curry's one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA. If they have a chance to get Steph Curry, they better get him. Brunson, Randall, you add Curry to this team, the Knicks are going to the finals. They're winning a championship. Curry has plenty in the tank. At 50, this guy could fall out of bed and hit the J easy.
I tell you,
get him here.
He says something interesting that I do pause on.
What's that?
Because what scares me is the age. Like, I think any sports fan wants multiple chances at it. And look, I made my deal with Aaron Rodgers, and how many years do I have a chance to win? But Steph Curry, being the kind of player that he is, could age well.
Of course.
Like, he could be, if he hits that outside shot, maybe he will play till he's 42.
I mean, LeBron is what, 38?
We don't include him. He's not human.
I know, of course. But he's 38.
Yeah.
But I would say 4 years ago, it felt like he was slowing down. It just looked different. It wasn't the same LeBron. It wasn't the bully ball LeBron. I can go score 40 if I want to. It was, let me do a turnaround, fall away, shoot three-pointers. Like, he changed. Like, his game changed. Steph's game doesn't have to change.
No, in fact, Steph Curry, and you think about this with NBA players as they get older, they kind of shy away from contact, the physicality. Steph's gotten to the line more times this year than he has in any other year. I think the one area of decline that Steph has, and this will be your X's and O's basketball issue you'll have with the Steph-Jalen backcourt, is they won't be able to defend me. That'll be their biggest problem. But with that said, I think you'll take that problem.
Of course.
Because you Knick fans will finally get the superstar you dream of. Now, the one thing we'll tackle in a few minutes is, does he actually want to come here? Because New York City, unfortunately, has had a reputation of stars not wanting to play at Madison Square Garden. But the question you have to ask yourself is, when this happens, and it's going to, when Shams or Adrian tweet out, Steph Curry's informed Warriors management he'd like to look at other options for his future. That's going to happen. This is the NBA. It happens all the time. When that happens, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to cash out on Steph Curry, a soon-to-be 36-year-old legend?
Yes.
Tiki says yes. Loogie says yes.
The Knicks are going to do damage.
I spoke to your former partner, Brandon Tierney. I had to pick his brain. And BT said, yes, within reason. Certain trades he would not make. Quentin Grimes doesn't want to deal him.
Quentin Grimes? Come on, really?
No, you can't trade Jalen. Grimes sealed.
Yeah, I know.
Jalen is we can't deal him.
He's the untouchable one.
Listen, you would deal anybody
But
for
by the
Steph
way,
Curry.
I would deal him too.
Robbie in East Brunswick. How are you, Robbie?
Good. How you guys doing today?
What's up, Robbie?
Hey, listen, diehard Knicks fans from '69, all the great,
Look at you.
great Knicks teams.
The best part
everybody.
about you, Robbie, is you're actually old enough to remember a championship.
Yeah, well, they were great teams, and I saw two of them. But they were great teams, great coaches, great team players, fantastic.
Yes.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you, I love Steph Curry. I really do. How can you not love him?
Exactly.
But I'm not giving up 4 first-round picks for a 36-year-old player. We should have learned our lessons with all the mercenaries. I'll give him 2 and maybe something else.
Oh, you're so generous. He's so generous. I'll give you 2. Here's the problem. 2 ain't going to be enough.
Well,
Yes, if you want a superstar in the NBA, trust me, I'm an expert on this both ways.
So
it's going to take more than two.
We talked about this yesterday with the draft, the NFL draft, and the whole Tommy DeVito thing. It is such a crapshoot in the NFL. Like, you don't know. I mean, if you go get an elite defensive end from Ohio State, chances are he's going to be okay, right? Most of those guys are going to pan out. You go try to get a quarterback, which is the equivalent of a Steph Curry in the NFL draft, you don't know. Right? It matters where he goes. It matters what his maturity level is. It matters, can he play in the environment, meaning the city? Is it too big or the media? All that matters. It is worse in the NBA, right? The NBA first rounders, I mean, half of the kids are 18 and don't know, and then they go into these adult environments and they don't ever develop. They start buying Bentleys and they forget that they got to actually play basketball, right? So I get it with the first round picks. Oh yeah, I mean seriously, how many do they have? 11? 12?
They've got a lot.
11?
And they also
11 until 2030.
And they got a lot of second round picks
they
too.
got
Throw that in there.
11 first round picks.
Yeah.
The chances of you hitting on, I mean, yeah, you can take your shot. Let's just use this one now. By the way, that was protected. Sorry, you don't get it till next year. Right? I mean, it's like, what are we talking about? Right? It's like this magical, this is like mystical first round pick that we've been talking about.
You know what it is?
For years.
T,
I don't even want them anymore. I think if you get rid of, seriously,
Get rid of these picks.
Get rid of them so we stop talking about them.
So it's not the picks and it's not the player. I do want to clarify. It's the idea of, but I want to save it for that star.
Okay, but
so that's the problem.
Who is that star?
No, I don't know. What I'm telling you today is I know the next one. I can't tell you the one after that because here's the problem. The Knicks fans going to think to themselves, no, I can't do this. I got to wait for Luka. And I understand if Luka becomes available.
Luka's not leaving, though.
I know, but the holdout always is about picks. I want to clarify. It's not the pick. It's I want to use those picks for someone else. That's the hesitation.
Yeah,
it isn't the teenager in 2029 I'm using my first on. It's no. If Luka becomes available, I want him.
Right.
Because we're always waiting for the next star. And by the way, Knicks fans, I understood not wanting Karl Anthony Towns when you thought he was available. I understand it. I could even understand the hesitation on Donovan Mitchell. I love Donnie. Donovan Mitchell is not first ballot superstar MVP Hall of Famer. So I get why you've been hesitating. But the hesitating gets pushed a little bit.
At some point, you have to S or get off the P. Right? It's a cliche for a reason.
It's time to S.
I mean, exactly.
Dude, they got two All-Stars, Randall Brunson. You got to get Curry here to finish it off.
Because the Knicks have been sitting on the pot for a long time.
Yes.
A long time.
They have. And you're constipated, Knicks fans. So the question is, to quote an old friend of yours,
it's time for an enema.
Well, that's a good one. I was just going to say, what you going to do about it?
Let's go Knicks.
And there may be an option, and it's coming sooner than you think. We'll get to your calls next, 877-337-6666. Plus, as somebody that has always made fun of the franchise, has mocked the franchise, I'll tell you why if Steph asks for a trade, he will want to come here, of all places.